Welcome back to the vlog. So I'm heading out with a guy called Jack today for a few hours. Jack contacted me on Facebook a few days ago and said, I'm coming to Girona in a few days, is there any chance we can go out for a spin? I said, yeah, sure man. I'm meeting him at the bridge in about 2 minutes. So I met up with Jack. Well, I said his name was Jack, but it's not. How do you pronounce your name again?
Jacek.
Jacek. So he's from Germany and he now lives in Switzerland. And he's here in Girona on holiday because it's the best place to come to. We're doing we're doing the Armstrong loop today, which goes up the Els Angels first and then across the Casa della Selva. But it's nice to go up Els Angels straight out of Girona because it was quite cold this morning. To go up a climb straight away, it was a nice way to warm up. But now I'm cold again and I can hardly speak. Just been talking about winter training. So obviously you live in Switzerland, and how cold is it currently in Switzerland?
I think it's -5 degrees, yeah.
So is there snow on the roads?
No, there's no snow on the road.
During the winter you don't need to be on the trainer, you're still able to go out on the road and train?
Yeah, if the cold is no problem for you, you can train all the winter on the road.
So here today in Girona it's currently 2 degrees, so that feels warm to you?
Yeah, it's pretty warm. We have right now 5 degrees.
5, yeah.
So yeah. It's wonderful weather.
The first 1 hour 30 of the ride was nice, like riding through the hills. We had lots of shelter from the wind. But that last half an hour, back up into Girona on the main road, we were heading directly north and the wind was coming from the north. Woo.
Nice, camera.
Take care.
Bye bye.
See you again soon. Fun 2 hour ride with Jacek. The wind seems to be getting stronger and stronger every day at the minute, but nonetheless we had an awesome 2 hour ride in the hills. And I think he's going home and picking up his girlfriend and going for another ride. That's mad with that wind.
What's the first thing you do after a ride? Just have a plate full of beans on toast.
I was having a look at the weather forecast and it said after today the wind's supposed to be dying down a little bit. I bet it wouldn't actually feel that cold if this wind wasn't here. I saw Dan Craven put a tweet out the other day and he said it was like the coldest winter in years. That wind chill really does have an effect on like the real field temperature, but I'm not complaining because it's warmer than England probably, and it's definitely drier than England. Rory Sutherland, the Australian cyclist who's racing for Team Movistar, he's just set up a cafe / restaurant here in Girona, so I'm on a bit of a mission to try and find it. I sort of know where it is and I sort of don't.
Found a cafe pretty easily. I'm just sat here with my laptop doing some work with a coffee. I think it's important when you're staying somewhere for a long period of time to often get out of that place, and particularly when my work, a lot of it is done sat in one position, it's just on the computer, so it's good to do that somewhere else other than your room all the time where you spend all night sleeping anyway. It's nice to just go and do some work somewhere else. Oh, and I've changed seats. I was sat over there, but I think this is a cooler place.
I have to say I was impressed with Rory Sutherland's cafe. It's kind of like a smart cafe, but the prices didn't really reflect that, so it's still relatively cheap for a coffee. It's like €1.70, which is probably 20 or 30 cents more than like your average local cafe coffee would cost you, but it's still cheaper than what you'd pay in England.
In the whole time that I've been in Girona, whether that be last year when I was here for 6 weeks or this year, I've been here for a week so far, I've not been in that sweet shop. I intend to keep it that way. No idea. No idea. I'm sat on a balcony here and it's sheltered, so even though it's windy out there, in here it's like nice and calm. And it's a real sun trap in the corner of this apartment. But the view from the top of here is pretty nice. That's El's Angels up there. Alright, let's talk about training. I've not really talked about this for quite a while, which seems kind of weird because I came to Spain to train, but I've just not really talked about anything specific for quite some time. I made a video in December about what training I typically do in December, and to give a quick summary of that video, the majority of my training is endurance and tempo training, so stuff way below threshold, relatively easy stuff, just getting the miles in, enjoying time on the bike. And I said once January comes around, I will do a video about specific stuff that I will do in January. So January, we're 2 months away from racing now. That means the intensity needs to start being brought up. The more specific stuff comes in. So essentially in January, the general hourly training rate will reduce, so there'll be less endurance miles, less tempo miles, and there'll be more interval training. Now I'm a big believer of periodized training, which essentially is training where you're doing intervals above your threshold, so you'll do like 4-minute intervals at VO2, or you're doing some hard 2-minute intervals or hard 5-minute, you get the idea. So I'm still doing the longer rides. You'll see in the vlogs that I'm doing 4-5 hour rides, just there'll be less of them. There'll be more like 3-hour rides where it'll be an hour going easy, an hour worth of intervals, and then an hour coming home. I'm a big believer of you go hard when you need to go hard and you go easy when you need to go easy. There's no point going hard all the time, and there's no point going easy all the time. And I don't neglect the threshold training model, which believes in more endurance riding, more low intensity stuff, working below your threshold. I will drop a link down below to a video that explains polarized training versus threshold training. I'm not going to go into detail now, and Edward Green did a really good job of explaining it all. So to sort of summarize everything I've just said there, January, the training volume will be reduced to like 15 hours a week, at the tops 20 hours, which is going to consist of like 1 endurance ride, and then the rest of the rides are going to be like interval training, so 4-minute intervals, 5-minute intervals, 10-minute intervals, all the way up to like 20-minute sweet spot intervals. Whilst I'm in Spain, I like to make the most of the long climbs, so the majority of the intervals that I will do are on the long climb. So I know if I've got a 10-minute climb coming up, I might just do that 10-minute climb at full gas, and that's like my 10-minute interval. Or likewise, if I'm doing a shorter climb, 4 or 5 minutes, I will hit that full gas, and then that's one of the intervals. So in terms of numbers, generally when I'm doing 4-minute intervals, I will do 6 of them. 5-minute intervals, I will do 5. 10-minute intervals, I will do either 3 or 4. And finally, 20-minute intervals, I will do either 2 or 3. The idea here is to start bringing up that top end speed, to sort of build on that base that we built in December, so all that endurance riding and all that tempo riding. Now I'm starting to build that top end power, top end speed, bringing the leg speed up, and just generally conditioning my body ready for racing. Today's coming to an end, so I'm going to end the vlog, but before I end the vlog, some of you may know, some of you may not know, but recently YouTube's been having some problems. You might have seen some big YouTubers making videos in this where videos weren't showing up in people's subscription boxes even though they were subscribed to that channel. And I didn't think this was happening, I just thought it was a little bit of drama. But the other day I actually got an email off someone and they said they were a subscriber of my channel, but my videos weren't showing up anymore in their subscription box. And I have no idea what's going on. It seems to be a little bit of a bug that's floating around YouTube at the minute, but there's one way that you can prevent this from happening. So if you're on a computer, scroll down a little bit. Next to where it says cycling cam, it's got the subscribe button. Then next to the subscribe button, it's got a picture of a bell. Click that bell. Likewise, if you're on a phone, scroll down, you'll see a bell. Click that bell. That way when I upload a video, it's always going to be on your home screen and you're never going to miss a video. You can do this for as many people as you want, so do this for all your favourite YouTubers. That way you're never going to miss a video, which is what seems to have been happening recently. But that's going to be the end of the vlog for today. Thanks for watching today's vlog, and I'll see you tomorrow.